So why is it okay to eat raw fish or raw beef, but not raw pork or raw chicken? How about raw horse meat? Surprisingly, raw horse meat can be safely consumed raw. So clearly some meats are safe raw and others aren't. Think about it. Humans are the only animals on Earth that systematically eat cooked food. Every other animal eats raw. So why are we the exception? Is it because other animals can't eat cooked food?
Nope.
If you give cooked food to a dog or a cat, they'll gobble it up as well. The reason is simple. We are the only ones who figured out how to use fire. But it wasn't always like that. Before the invention of fire, early humans ate raw food too. By about 200,000 years ago, Homo sapiens, our direct ancestors, had already mastered fire and begun to cook. It was just a new way we invented to consume food. So as animals, we as humans should possess the ability to eat raw food just like every other animal does. Even now, most of our fruits are eaten raw. Vegetables too. It's mainly meat that we've become very cautious and sensitive about. But why is that? Is it because we got too used to cooked meat that we lost the ability to handle raw meat? Well, not exactly. But then why do we get food poisoning? Well, the reason we get food poisoning is if the food we consume contains parasites, bacteria, or viruses. This logic applies to everything we consume, raw or cooked. Most animals, especially carnivorous animals, rely on their stomach acid to kill these bacteria and parasites. And the more carnivorous the animal, especially those that eat rotten meat, the stronger their stomach acid is. Omnivores like pigs and raccoons have a stomach acid pH value of around 2.8 to 5.9. Chimpanzees, who mostly eat fruits, will have a neutral level of stomach acid, which is not acidic at all, as they don't need it to consume fruits. Carnivores like lions and tigers have a stomach acid pH value around 2.2, which is very acidic. For those animals that consume rotten meat, like hyenas, have a stomach acid pH value of 1.0. Vultures, on the other hand, reach a high level of 0.5, which is powerful enough to dissolve bones. That's why they can eat carcasses with no problem. So what is the acidic value for us? Well, we humans have a stomach acid pH value of 1.5, even stronger than lions and tigers, and not far off from scavengers like hyenas. So technically, we have some of the strongest stomach acid among the animal kingdom. Here's the ironic part. Because our stomach acid is so powerful, it often ends up hurting us. If our stomach acid leaks into our small intestine, it causes ulcers. If it refluxes back into the esophagus, it literally burns our lining. That's how strong it is. If our stomach acid touches anywhere outside the stomach, it's GG. The only reason our stomach itself doesn't get destroyed is because it's protected by a special layer called the stomach lining. But if that lining gets damaged, either through illness, infection, or something else, the acid will eat through the stomach wall and cause gastritis. So then here's the big question. If our stomach acid is stronger than that of lions and tigers, why can't we eat raw meat the way they do? If lions can dig into raw meat all day long, why can't we? There are 3 reasons why. The first reason is that lions and tigers have short intestines, while humans have much longer ones. When an animal's intestines are short, food doesn't stay inside very long. That means bacteria and parasites don't get much time to multiply before the food is pushed out. But humans? Our intestines are so long that sometimes it takes 2 or 3 days for food to leave the body. And during that time, the warm, moist environment inside our intestines becomes the perfect breeding ground for parasites and bacteria, creating serious health risks. But of course, our long intestines also come with benefits. Because they're so long, we're able to absorb much more nutrition from our food. And that's important because, unlike lions and tigers, we don't just eat one thing. They only eat meat. Their digestive systems are built for that. But us, we eat everything. From grains to vegetables, fruits, fish, meat, dairy. Our diet requires a diverse and a much more complex digestive system, which is why our intestines are longer. The second reason humans aren't suited to eating raw meat comes down to our eating habits. Think about it. Lions and tigers always eat the freshest meat possible. They catch it and eat it right away. But we don't do that. The meat we eat is processed at a factory, shipped to the market, and we buy it after deciding it looks good enough to take home. We might still let it sit in the fridge for another day or two before cooking it. That means the meat we eat isn't nearly as fresh. Bacteria can easily start growing inside it. Now, if you cook the meat, that's no problem at all, because the heat kills the bacteria, but if you eat it raw, the risk becomes way too high. So in the end, maybe if we hunted, caught, and ate the animals immediately, maybe it would be a different story. The third reason humans aren't suited to eating raw meat is because our immune system, compared to wild animals, is much weaker. Sure, our stomach acid is incredibly strong, even comparable to hyenas or vultures, but not even the strongest acid can kill every virus. So why doesn't strong stomach acid kill these viruses? Because each of these viruses has its own defense mechanism. Norovirus has a protein shell that shields it from acid. Its only goal is to make it safely into the intestines. Helicobacter pylori, on the other hand, secretes an enzyme that creates a weakly alkaline bubble around itself, neutralizing the acid nearby. When these acid-resistant viruses get inside us, we get food poisoning. But then the question is, why don't wild animals get sick as often? Do they never get diarrhea or vomiting? Of course they do, but far less frequently compared to us. That's because their immune systems are on another level. Take hyenas or vultures, they eat rotting carcasses every day. Over time, their bodies have adapted to environments full of pathogens. Their intestines are already home to a whole zoo of bacteria and viruses, all coexisting in balance. None of them dominates, so illness rarely breaks out. It's kind of like a lawless area where different factions are mixed together. They keep each other in check, and no single gang can become the boss. So essentially, our long intestines, combined with our dietary habits and immune system issues, mean we're no longer suited to eating raw meat. But what about raw seafood? Don't we eat it all the time? The thing is, a lot of seafood can actually be eaten raw. Think sashimi, tuna, even certain shellfish. But why is that okay, when raw pork or chicken isn't? It comes down to the environment they live in. All ocean life, including fish, shellfish, even parasites and viruses, all share one fatal weakness, which is that they can't handle the cold. That's why seafood from colder waters tastes better. Even in the Arctic or Antarctic, seawater never drops below 0 degrees Celsius. In fact, in the deep sea, it can be even warmer. So marine viruses have never evolved to survive extreme sub-zero temperatures. That's why once seafood is caught, it's immediately deep frozen to negative 20 degrees Celsius for at least 24 hours. That process kills almost all parasites and bacteria, including their eggs. But land animals are different, as they regularly endure negative 20 to negative 30 degrees Celsius, or even lower, which means their viruses and parasites are adapted to survive extreme cold. Freezing them isn't enough. That's why land meat eaten raw is so risky. So why is beef considered safer to eat raw? Is it because beef is somehow cleaner? Actually, yes. Compared to pork and chicken, beef carries fewer parasites, bacteria and viruses, and the reason is that beef is denser, with a lower water content, and the less water in the meat, the harder it is for bacteria to grow. Pork and chicken, on the other hand, have a much higher water content, which makes them more vulnerable to bacterial growth. But don't let this fool you that beef is completely risk-free. While the inside of beef usually has fewer bacteria, the surface is a different story. Because during slaughter and transport, the surface of the meat can easily pick up bacteria and viruses, sometimes even from other types of meat. That's why steaks are always seared on both sides, even if the inside is rare, because most of the bacteria live on the surface, and by searing it, you kill them off, making a medium rare steak much safer. And if you really want to eat beef raw, it has to be properly washed and handled, because the longer you store it, the more chance those surface bacteria will slowly work their way inside the meat. Once that happens, a quick sear on the outside won't be enough. I hope this video at least gave you a new perspective on eating raw food. Pay attention to hygiene, choose safe sources, and when in doubt, always sear the surface. Even a quick sear can kill bacteria and lower the risk dramatically. Alright, my name is Kino. See you next time.